So here we are for the OCB summer study class, and today I wanted to talk about Shin Buddhism's big upside. And basically, it's going to be about the benefits of following the Shin Buddhist path. So very early in 2023, at the beginning, BCA Bishop Reverend Marvin Harada laid this out for our theme for this year, for the BCA. And so this theme has actually been carried out extensively over the last 7.5 months, or 6.5 months. I guess we're in August now, 6 months. And so I'm going to explain to you some of the benefits of following the Shin Buddhist path, what I call Buddhism's big upside. And I'm going to do it through the voice of 4 or 5 different Dharma teachers, including Reverend Harada. But let's begin. So as I said, in the beginning of 2023, Reverend Harada laid this out. I guess it was a decision by the ministerial board that this was going to be the theme for this year. So Reverend Harada, over the first 5 months of the Wheel of Dharma, was writing articles that had to do with this theme. And let me see. And so as we can see, in January, he did an article that was basically, it was talking about living from inside out, talking about how we need to live a life from our inside, with our values or what our feelings are, understanding of the world, and not rely so much on the external kinds of aspects of our life. So that's what January was. February, they highlighted a life of gratitude, which coincided with something else I'm going to talk about in just a moment. In March, he talked about the benefit of having a life of introspection. And in April, the benefit was being part of a Sangha. And in June, he talked about deep listening. So one of the people who has taken up this theme is Reverend Kenji Akahoshi, and he did a continuing Buddhist education course that was on YouTube, or I guess, it was on the BCA CBE, Continuing Buddhist Education site, on March the 11th, where he talked about the benefits of living a Shin Buddhist life. And he called it living the Dharma. So, and then he followed up that CBE course with an article in the Wheel of Dharma called How to Attract New Sangha Members to Join BCA Temples. And it says Akahoshi outlines 5 benefits of Shin. So what exactly were those things that he highlighted? So according to Reverend Okahoshi, he listed these 5. Gratitude as a familiar way for ordinary people to realize the uniqueness of receiving as a practice. Voicing thank you for ordinary things leads to a life of gratitude that leads to a spiritual awakening. So I think Reverend Okahoshi is really famous for emphasizing this idea of a life of not so much please, which is actually asking for something, but more a life of thank you. And gratitude is a really important part of his message. Then he talked about belonging to a temple or Shin community. and it is to have a suitable place to practice with fellow travelers. Shin values and practices differ from the usual American religious thought. Then he also talked about a definition of self that is practical and leads to a spiritual component. He talked about service to others as a fundamental value in an awakened life. And lastly, our connection to our spiritual nature as a balanced effort to counter our egocentric nature. Our spiritual nature maintains our connection to all those in the past, present, and future. So this is Reverend Okahoshi's characterization of his idea of the benefits of following a Shin Buddhist path. So next, I wanted to talk about the BCA National Council meeting that occurred in February, and they had a series of talks at their town hall seminar held on February the 18th. And the theme of this town hall seminar was again, the benefits of following a Shin Buddhist path. And they had several people who spoke on this topic. So one of the persons that talked was Greg Creech, who, if you're not familiar with him, he is the director of the Todo Institute, which is located in Vermont, and it is based on a Pure Land Shin Buddhist practice. And so it's interesting in the editor's note, it says, this is the first of a series of articles about the February 18th BCA National Council meetings town hall seminar, which led off with the benefits of a life of gratitude. This article covers the presentation by Greg Creech. Next month's article will be about the presentation by Reverend Dr. Takashi Miyaji. So what did Mr. Creech cover? Well, he's famous for something called Nikon therapy. And he emphasizes this practice of gratitude, grace, and the Japanese art of self-reflection. And so some of the things that he talks about in this first article is this idea of self-reflection and asking these three important questions. What have I received from others? What have I given to others? And what troubles and difficulties have I caused others? So if you want to find out more about the kind of Nikon methodology, I would refer you to that May Wheel of Dharma article, because it really nicely explains in a very nice short article, kind of the whole basis of the Nikon self-reflection process, which encompasses a deep sense of gratitude as sort of the basis of this kind of therapy. So the following month, in the June 2023 article of the Wheel of Dharma, we have Reverend Dr. Takashi Miyaji speak about gratitude. And it says he recalls grandfather, the late Buddhist scholar, Reverend Kakue Miyaji. And this is the second in a series of articles about the February 18th BCA National Council meeting town hall seminar, which led off with the benefits of a life of gratitude. And then it talks about next month will be on the benefits of teaching that embraces all and forsakes none. So as you know, Reverend Miyaji is Michiko Inanaga's brother. He's also the son of Reverend Nobuo Miyaji and his wife, Reverend Miyaji. They're both ministers, and he's the nephew of our own Miyaji Sensei. So there's a lot of ministerial connection to him. He is very well regarded and respected in the BCA, and he spoke about what he considered the benefits from a Shin Buddhist practice. So in his article, he talked about how it gives one a respite from life's craziness. He talks about the fact that, he's the father of young children, and how Buddhism comes into play in dealing with that kind of busy life with young children. He also talked about looking at our true self and this assurance that we are embraced by Amida's boundless wisdom and compassion, and also this oneness with truth. So this is how he characterized the benefits from Shin Buddhism. And it also was overlaid with this idea of a life of gratitude. Then in July, we had an article by Reverend Mary Beth Smith, an article that was relating what Reverend Mary Beth Smith addresses of the LGBTQ plus rejection and acceptance. So MA discusses benefits of a teaching that embracing all and forsaking none. And so in this Wheel of Dharma article, she does talk about the benefits of that kind of life, of being embraced, and particularly true for someone as a member of the LGBTQ community. She has felt very much embraced by Buddhism and acceptance. And I think that is true of all of our Sangha members who have that connection and feel that the Buddhist teachings speak to them and are accepting and embracing them in as fully and completely as any other Sangha member. So I recommend all three of these articles from the Wheel of Dharma. And now I want to go on to another article from the Wheel of Dharma. And this is also from the July 2023 article. And this is Reverend Harada talking about the past, present, and future of the BCA. And Buddhist Churches of America is looking ahead to its 125th anniversary in 2024. So what I am going to do, because in this article, he also talks about the benefits of following a Shin Buddhist path. And I'm going to lay out for you exactly what Reverend Harada says. So this article, Past, Present, and Future of the BCA. And so just read along with me. The other day, I had the privilege of giving a lecture for the Ho Center for Buddhist Studies at Stanford University. They asked me to speak on the topic of the past, present, and future of the BCA. I very much enjoyed speaking there, and we had a wonderful question and answer session after my lecture. I shared some of our early history of our BCA, how it started in 1899, when two ministers from Japan were sent by the Gummonshu at that time, Myonyo Shoni. In our early years, many churches and temples were established in major cities like Los Angeles, Sacramento, San Jose, Fresno, and Seattle. By 1914, 25 churches were established. In 1931, there were 33 churches, 59 ministers, and 11,000 members. During World War II, growth of the BCA came to a halt as Japanese Americans and ministers were sent to internment camps. During those camp years, Buddhist services were held in camp, and when the war ended, new Japanese communities were formed, and our churches began to flourish again. By the time that the BCA observed its 75th anniversary in 1974, the BCA had grown to 55 churches, 62 ministers, and 20,000 members. Perhaps that was our heyday. Since then, we have seen a gradual decrease in membership, and in recent years, it has become more acute. In the past 10 years, we have lost 28% of our membership. Presently, we number 58 churches, 35 ministers, and 10,000 members. Clearly, we cannot continue our trend of decreasing membership, and it is my goal as bishop to turn our membership decline around and to grow our Sanghas. As part of my lecture at Stanford, I showed a map that showed how Buddhism spread across the Asian continent over the course of the past 2,500 years. Starting from northern India, Buddhism spread in two directions: to the north, to Tibet, China, Korea, and Japan, and to the south, to southern India, and across to Thailand, Burma, and Vietnam. I stated that this map shows me the future of Buddhism in America over the past 2,500 years. No matter what country Buddhism has entered, in time, it has become the predominant religion in that country. That is what gives me the confidence to know that someday Buddhism will be the dominant religion in this country. It might take 200 years or 300 years, but eventually, although this country is 95% Judeo-Christian, I have no doubt that this country will be predominantly Buddhist. I would love to see what that will look like, but obviously I won't be around. Will there be Buddhist temples and centers on every other block? What will it look like, and what kind of Buddhism will be the major tradition in this country? Will it be Zen? Will it be Tibetan Buddhism? Will it be Soka Gakkai? Or will it be Shin Buddhism? I think that our Shin Buddhist tradition has a lot to offer this country and to the world. Here are 10 things that Shin Buddhism offers to this country. So here are his 10 benefits. It is a teaching that everyone can follow, regardless of age, gender, ethnicity, or sexual orientation. It is a teaching of listening, which has become a lost art in the world today. It is a life of gratitude rather than a life of feeling entitled. It is a life of humility as opposed to a life of arrogance. It is life of self-introspection rather than always blaming others. It is a life of community, of Sangha, of belonging. It is a life of meaning and fulfillment in life. It is a life of the Bodhisattva to strive for the enlightenment of all beings. It is a life of awakening, realization of truth, of the Dharma. It is a life of bringing wisdom and compassion to the world. I would love for Shin Buddhism to be a major Buddhist tradition someday in this country in the future. I don't know why it can't be. It is really up to us to share the teachings, to reach those who have yet to hear the Dharma, to share our teachings of humility, gratitude, self-introspection, and wisdom and compassion to all. So here is the announcement, or the announcement and in the Stanford website of Reverend Harada's appearance. So it was May the 25th of this year, and it says, Bishop Marvin Harada, the past, present, and future of the Buddhist Churches of America. And if you just go to Stanford University, to the Ho Center for Buddhist Studies, and search Marvin Harada, you can actually just listen to the entire lecture. I think it was something like 40 or 45 minutes, but really well done. He kind of elaborated more than basically what he wrote in his article for Wheel of Dharma, but of course he elaborated more. So just to summarize, again, what he envisions as the 10 benefits is that it is a teaching for anyone. It is a teaching of listening. It is a life of gratitude. It is a life of humility, a life of self-introspection, a life of community of Sangha, a life of meaning and fulfillment, and a life of the Bodhisattva, a life of awakening, and a life of bringing wisdom and compassion to the world. And don't we need that? So hopefully then when we go into adult study, we can reflect a little bit more on all of these benefits. Please join me in Gassho. Gratitude for the benefits of following a Shin Buddhist path. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.